Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of 90 Day Fiancé, Season 8, Episode 5, Who's the Boss? And let me tell you who's trying to be the boss is Betty. But Julia is standing up for herself and saying, no, you not boss. And I love it. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. There is a lot that happened in this episode. It was a really good episode. Let's jump right in. So the first couple that we're gonna have to talk about is Julia and Brandon, because Betty has lost her mind. Okay, so we start off this episode where Brandon has to get up early for work. So he's putting on his pest control outfit and he's sneaking out of the house because it's very early and he doesn't want to wake up Julia. Then we have Julia waking up a few hours later and she's got on her little cute puffy coat and she goes outside to handle some chickens. She's screaming all the while, and then Aspen shows up and Aspen's like, hey, where have you been? I've been out here for 4 hours. And Julia's like, I'm here to feed chickens. And Aspen's like, yeah, but to feed the animals, you actually have to get up at 7 a.m. Like, they need to be fed at 7 a.m. And Julia is like, really? 7 a.m.? And Aspen's like, yeah, that's what it is to live on a farm. And I didn't appreciate Aspen's attitude, okay? Because don't nobody want to get up at 7 a.m. to feed animals that aren't feeding you. What is the purpose of this farm? I still have that question. Why would I get up at 7 a.m. to feed animals? I'm not getting up at 7 a.m. to do anything unless I'm getting paid for it. And Julia for sure is not getting paid for it. Aspen then takes her to feed the goats and is like making her seem like she's an odd weakling, and then she takes her over to feed the pigs. Julia's running around the pig pen screaming at them in Russian, and Aspen is just looking at her laughing. But I just don't like this not understanding of what's going on. Maybe they just don't get that Brandon didn't explain anything to her, because it couldn't be me. I would have had to been like, no, Brandon, I actually have to go back until this situation is figured out. We'll try again, because you weren't ready for me this time. And then later on that evening, Brandon gets home from work and goes directly into his room like he doesn't have a whole fiance in the next room. She's like hearing him walk around and he goes immediately into his room. And then we see that this man, boy, child, has an entire bookcase filled with like protein powder. And I am like, is he obsessed with protein powder? Does he like the way it tastes? Does he have some kind of hormonal imbalance where he needs to take protein powder in order to be a real boy? Like, I'm not sure, but he's barely a man as it is. And so I'm like, what have you been doing with all that? Maybe that's why he has so many bottles of it. Just so many bottles of unused whey protein powder. Julia has to walk from her room to his room to be like, hey. And he's like, hey, oh yeah, like, yeah, we got to get ready to go. We're having dinner. And she's like, dinner? And he's like, yeah, my grandpa wants to meet you. Again, another surprised event that she was not prepared for. So 30 minutes later, they hop into his cute little two-seater and they go off to the restaurant and they meet Betty, the dad, and Papa Joe. So Pop is there, and Pop wants to understand what Julia's intentions are, because he's real worried about his grandson being scammed, because a lot of Russian women want to come over here and marry an American man. But Julia is so warm and lovely to him. Like, when she hugs him, she's just like, oh, look at this cute little man. And she gives him like a little kiss on the cheek, and he is in love with her from then on out. I mean, he's already ordered his salad. He's like, you want some of this salad? He's trying to give Julia whatever it is that she wants. He loves her, okay? So then Betty starts to talk about whatever and notices that Julia has hickeys on her neck and calls it out. Then wants to have a group family meeting about the hickeys on her neck. Betty's like, oh my God, Brandon, like what? Why would you do that to her? And I'm just like, Betty, like what? Has Betty never been young, you guys? They signed him up for farmersonly.com for him to get a wife. And when he gets one, someone different than they wanted. Now they're like literally judging every single move he makes, and it's weird and unnecessary. And it's cringy, and he's just sitting there being embarrassed by his mother. He's a 27-year-old man, and his father tells him to grow up. He is growing up. He's trying to do it, but Betty doesn't want him to. So then they say that they've set a date for the wedding. And the date is gonna be May 9th, because the 9th is the day that he first messaged her. So it's sentimental to them. But Betty doesn't like that because that's Mother's Day weekend. And so she doesn't want to have to share Mother's Day weekend with their wedding anniversary, which it would really only fall on their wedding anniversary every couple of years, right? It's not going to be every single year. But Betty is so crazy and selfish that she wants them to change the date of their wedding because it coincides with Mother's Day. Listen, to me, Mother's Day is not that big a deal. I don't know what Betty does on Mother's Day, but she acts like it's New Year's Eve or something. You just take your mom out to dinner, you give them a present, and then you go about your day. Like, what is the big whoop about Mother's Day? And the father, he's like, yeah, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. So Papa Joe's starting to save the date, and the mother's like, no, don't put that date in your calendar. We're gonna work on it some more. And I'm just so angry. Julia says to the confessional, to the camera, that they don't allow them to make any decisions. And the only thing Brandon does is just not side with his mother. He just sides with Julia and says that whatever she wants, he's fine with doing that. He's okay with the date as it is, and he doesn't need to change it. And it shows just a of backbone on his part. It's all that we can get from Brandon, and okay, I accept it. Next couple that we're going to talk about is Stephanie and Ryan. So here we have Stephanie and her medical assistant Pam, whom she's known for 14 years, and they are at her Skin Envy weight loss spa, which there's something about this weight loss spa, because it's all like, here, shoot this into your body and you'll lose weight. It makes me go, oh, I know what those are like, those storefront weight loss places, like those storefront nutrition weight loss places, which I know that they work for people, but it's not the kind of place that teaches you how to manage your food or manage your relationship with food. It just gives you like, here, take some pills. You know, I've gone to those places to get like a B12 shot. It isn't the place for me. So her cousins are there. She's helped one cousin lose 80 pounds who's now currently pregnant. And she has another cousin named Ryan, who is there because she wants to get the injections as well and to lose the weight. And so while they're sitting there, Stephanie tells them about the fact that her little Belizean boy toy is now going to be her fiance, that she's taking the ring that her mother gave her down there so that Ryan can propose to her. She divulges a lot of stuff that is like super embarrassing. And when she says it, her family pushes back, but she honestly is not here for it. She's like, look, I'm an adult. I'm 52. I've never felt this way about anybody. And I'm just going full speed ahead. Even though there's like literal red flags and rocks and all kinds of things in my path on the way, I've invested in this. I've invested thousands of dollars in this, and so I'm there. It turns out that she has been paying for his family ever since COVID started. And like, I'm just gonna say that I don't know what it's like in Belize, but my family okay in Belize. Like, you know, nobody's asking for money because COVID has stopped them. In fact, the COVID cases in Belize are pretty low. So my only other thing is that maybe if their entire family is like resort workers, that could be something that has stopped them and everybody's furloughed. But again, like rent, my family's in a different situation, and it's not like they have money. It's just they're not in the main city, I guess. Maybe things are different in that village life, you feel me? So she's been paying for like food and all kinds of stuff, which is why Dorla took that call from her and was like, what up, Steph? You know what I'm saying? What up, Big Mama? Big Mama is paying for everything. Also, unbeknownst to Ryan, she is actually paying his wages. So she gives him anywhere from $500 to $1,300 a month US, which is double. So right, if 500 is 1,000 Belize and 1,200 is whatever 1,200 plus 1,200 is Belize. They're making out like bandits because like, you know what I'm saying? Rice and fish don't cost that much. Rice, fish, and banana is what we eat. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not making anything decadent. And she's sending product like watches and all kinds of stuff to that boy in Belize. Like, this is ridiculous, okay? Betsy, medical assistant Pam, who's known her for 14 years, is like, honestly, this is the first time she's felt like this for anybody. So what can we all say? We don't say nothing to this grown woman. We just let her live her life. She pays that man's wages. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, how is she paying his wages? Is she giving her friend money to pay him? And like, how is that legal? Like, how does that work? I don't know about like taxes and stuff in Belize. Like, I'd have no idea. I feel like I want to ask. The next couple that we're going to talk about is Jovi and Yada. You guys, this one really got to my heartstrings because Javi is such an F boy. He's just like, I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. There's a million toys in Toys R Us that I can play with, like European dolls. The man has no goals, no aspirations, but to just like party and travel. And I'm not saying that he's wrong for having that, but I'm saying he is wrong for trying to get married to somebody and still wanting to do that. Anyways, the white rug comes in and Yara has dictated that no more shoes in the house. And he's trying to fight against that, but I'm like, boy, just take your shoes off at the door. It's better. After they get all those things, she's like, next stop is to move to a $27 million mansion and marry a rich man. She really does not like New Orleans, okay? And she was real disrespectful to the people of New Orleans. And I'm so interested in seeing what Bondi has to say about this because you know that's Bondi City. What she's looking for is a metropolitan city like LA. All she wants to do is take selfies and become an influencer and make money. I don't necessarily know that her and Jovi's like goals line up at all. So he has a beer because he's gonna have a beer in every single episode because I really want to drive home that he's low-key an alcoholic. They go to dinner because after this dinner, he is going to go to work for 4 weeks. So she will be alone by herself. And so his mother has reached out to Javi and said, hey, you know, if Yara wants to spend some time with me, I can come down there and visit her. And Yara's like, well, I mean, she can come, but like, I'm not gonna go anywhere with her. And I'm just like, Yara, what is your problem? Like, just try it. I know it can be annoying. You don't have to say off the bat, I don't know if I'm gonna go anywhere with her. Like, that's your mother-in-law. It's the only family you've got. Oh my God, I just don't understand her hair. Someone needs to explain it to me, I don't get it. Like, I just don't get her. I understand her fashion sense. It's very like upscale Fashion Nova. I'm really waiting to see some like clear plastic pumps. The jacket on the shoulder bit where she won't just wear the jacket, she has it on her shoulder with like a little purse. Okay, girl. I mean, I get it. I get it. Am I hating? Maybe a little. We find out that when she had that miscarriage, she needed to have an operation. This is what I understand it to be. She had a miscarriage. The miscarriage wasn't just the kind that just expels themselves. She needed to have some kind of procedure. It's heartbreaking, and like even to say it, it's just like, you know? It looks like Javi didn't quite understand what was going on. And sometime in that process, she lost her passport. So she had to have the surgery in Hungary or Albania or somewhere. And Javi just left. He didn't even stay 2 days. He felt like it was her fault for losing her passport, which is the reason why I guess she couldn't go home and do it. But he didn't know that it was gonna be such a big deal. When she said she doesn't want to hang out with his mother, he's like, well, you know, when you have our kids and blah, blah, blah. And she was like, you're going to still do this line of work if we have kids? And he's like, yeah, my dad did it and my mom raised me pretty great. And I'm like, no, you're actually really selfish and like very clueless. She's like, but Javi, you're not going to be here to help me. Like, you're going to need to take 4 months off to help me. And he's just like, well, you can do it. My mom did it. And I'm like, it's not about the fact that she can't do it. It's that she knows you're not going to help her. She knows that you are not going to be an active father helping her raise the children, and that's what she wants. And the reason why she thinks that is because you left her when she had a miscarriage in a foreign country. And he says that he didn't know that she was holding so much resentment towards him. And I get that. But as soon as she starts to talk about it, he like clams up. And it's just like, I'm sorry I ruined this by bringing it up. And it's like, no, now you know how she feels and why she doesn't trust you. So take that information and make it better. And she's crying, and it's just really, it sucks. That is really, really hard and a horrible thing that he did. So let's move on to our next couple, which is Natalie and Mike. Okay, so as much as I keep saying that they're boring, they're actually the meat and potatoes of this season. I mean, maybe not the meat and potatoes, like maybe they're the potatoes and Julia and Brandon are the meat. And then like, who are the veggies? Amira and Andrew, because I could do without them, even though I do like veggies. Anyways, I can't make it work. Natalie is at home doing housework because Mike has a 3-hour commute to Seattle. He gets up at 3 a.m., goes to work, gets off at 2:30, and drives back 3 hours. So now I better understand why he didn't want to go to the waterfall that weekend. Intense. And maybe that's what he needs to do in order to get himself out of debt and to do what he can. Also, I have a question. There are a lot of cars on that lot, and I thought he owned 35 acres of land. Are there other like mobile homes on that land and he's just like renting out to people? Does he have renters? Because there's a lot of cars. It's not just his blue car. It's like another car, and then like I saw 2 or 3 other like SUV type vehicles. Natalie is at home, and she's been cleaning, girl. She cleaned out the kitty litter. She tried to do some laundry, but she doesn't know what bleach is, bleach. And she was getting it confused with softener, and there was a moment where I was just like, oh my God, no, we can't watch her do this. We can't watch her bleach everything. Maybe if she smells it, she'll understand what the difference is. Ugh, ooh, girl, the stress. She says that at the end of this week, she's done everything she can. She's clean. She's done it all. And now it's time for her surprise. And Mike does take her to Saskatchewan or whatever the name of that waterfall. And they get there, and she is so grateful and happy and lovely. And it seems like they're having such a good time. So when they first get there, they have dinner, and Mike orders like a bison bone or something. It's gigantic. And she is immediately judging him and talking shit because he's drinking wine. And it's like, she's like, you don't need to drink alcohol. As far as I'm concerned, having a drink at dinner, like what is the big deal? It's like they keep on pushing each other like teenagers. Like he has a beer and he's like, it's really good. You want to taste it? And then she's like, no. And it's like the same thing with the wine. She doesn't want a glass of wine. Like, she acts like he's a raging alcoholic. He might just become one if she continues with this. And her whole theme throughout this was that if Mike doesn't do these things to change for me, then he doesn't respect me. And that's how I know that he respects me. And then I'm like, what are you gonna do to change for him? To show him respect? What does his eating habits have to do with him showing you respect? It's very weird. Oh, you know what I forgot? The fish pond situation. So they were feeding the fish on his land, and then he wanted to light firecrackers, and she didn't want to light the firecrackers. She gets on the phone and tells her friend that that's another way that he doesn't respect her, because she didn't want to light the firecrackers because she was worried about the fish dying because of the loud sound. And then that equates him being disrespectful to her. I don't understand it. This man is a beer drinking, alien loving meat eater, and she just wants him to change all of that to show her respect. And that sounds bananas to me. It sounds absolutely crazy. I don't understand what those respect has to do with any of those things. She just wants to change who he is. She tells her friend that vacation Mike is very different than Mike in real life. And I'm like, yeah, that's with anybody. But I also don't think he's a bad guy. I mean, she literally says, up, up, and he puts her on his shoulder. And I'm just like, can I get a man that can I get a man? Like, period. Just can I go, period. Let alone a man who can actually carry me. Let alone a man who's actually taller than me. Let alone a man who can pick me up and put me on his shoulder. What a dream. I'm not saying Mike's a dream, but I'm just saying that scenario is a dream. So then she makes him promise that he is going to do some meatless days. Then the next day he is like, no, we're starting it next week. And so she's a little disappointed. She has a black bean burger and doesn't even think it's a black bean burger because it looks so great. And he has nachos. And now I want nachos. I've wanted nachos now for almost 24 hours because of that. Thanks, Mike. You don't respect me. Oh, I hate the way that she also was like, oh, you chew your words, so I couldn't understand you. And he's like, okay, baby, I chew my words. Just tell me to repeat myself. That's okay, honey. I'll speak louder. I'll speak clear. I'll do whatever you want. I was just like, oh. Now she's just looking like she's being bitchy for no reason. This man has a 3-hour commute. 6 hours of his day is just in the car. Can you cut him some slack? Oh, and then she's like, oh, he took me to a beer bar. Oh, it's a brewery, girl. She acts like this man is trying to shove alcohol down her porcelain Christian throat, and it is annoying. So the next couple that we're going to talk about is Rebecca and Zied. All right, I miss them. So Rebecca has got an industrial looking apartment, and she's worried because her and her ex lived in this apartment building. So she doesn't know how Zied is gonna react. And I'm just like, don't tell him. Also, what does that even matter? There are women and men who move into houses that ex-people used to live in. An apartment complex? Girl, who cares? They're just strumming up drama. And now she's like, oh, I need to go to the storage unit, and she brings like a whole shopping cart full of stuff. She says that she doesn't have anything. She just hasn't had time to buy stuff, which I believe. Her mattress is on the floor, but she's just so overcome with emotion when she even thinks about this man getting on the plane. And I'm just like, okay, I have to respect the fact that she actually loves this guy. I really hope that he treats her well. I know he's not, because he's like a bull in a china shop, but I hope that he does his best, because that machismo that comes off of him, especially because he don't make no money, is too much. And I feel like he's gonna get even worse when he realizes that A, she can't have kids, and B, he's doing heating and cooling. Like, is he gonna be happy? Who knows? Because you know, all he wants to do is wear a tight pair of pants and a bouffant haircut, which it actually doesn't look that bad on him. I'm not even gonna hate. Zayed looks cute. I noticed though that she did have her ring light up. Like, she had a couple dishes, she had her bed on the ground, and she had the ring light. You know what I'm saying? It's like all the things to get together. You make sure that your ring light is ready to go, sis. She made sure her ring light was ready to go. This woman who's almost 50 years old is sleeping on the floor, but she got her ring light. Oh, so then we go to Zayed, who's with his family, and he's packing. It's a whole family affair. It's a friend affair. His mother's crying. His father's crying. They go to the airport at 2:45 in the morning because he has a flight to Frankfurt, a layover, and then another flight. And I mean, it is a tearful goodbye. None of his family has ever been to the United States. I noticed that there's a little bit of French in whatever language that they're speaking. Yeah, I just wish them the best, honestly. She says that all she wants to do is cook, take care of him, and make him happy. Listen, he's not walking into a bad situation. The problem is that she's gonna be the breadwinner for a long time. So I don't know if she's gonna be able to do all those things, because he sure won't. The man lives with his mother at 27, and she dotes on him and his father. I'm pretty sure he doesn't know how to clean. The last couple that we're gonna talk about is Hazel and Tariq. So they wake up to an American breakfast. Tariq opens the door for her so that she can get into the car. And as we remember, she's no longer allowed to open any of her doors anymore. I love it. And so they go to an American breakfast, which is like chicken and waffles, pancakes, you know, all the sweet and savory stuff. And she says that she's just gonna gain weight if she eats like this. All she wants to do is eat some rice. And I was like, what is your rice gonna have on it? Just straight up rice, or is it gonna have a little azúcar on it? You know what I'm saying? A little butter. Tell me about the rice you want to eat. Like a rice of what, like an egg? So she's like tried everything, but he ate the majority of it. And then they go to the place where he would like them to get married, which is like a meditation center / psychic place. Which, you know, okay, I wouldn't want to get married there either. She wants him to listen to her, and they want to get married. She wants to get married in a church because her parents say so. And I'm like, first of all, your parents don't have a say in any of this, ma'am. They can't contribute at all to your situation, so they cannot demand that you get married in a church. I think they should do something outdoors. She's also really worried about meeting Ari because Ari's autistic. She may not know how to handle Ari, and I get it. I get it. Like, my little cutie chootie, my little nephew, people have to understand like what's happening. Like, he is gonna do what he wants to do, and you have to course correct constantly. Put that down, leave it alone. Put it down, leave it alone. Stop it, get down, get down. Okay, get out. And then he leaves. But especially if she's nonverbal, it's gonna be even harder, you know? Good, and maybe she'll like, I don't know, take some classes, look online, like seeing how to work with and communicate with autistic children. Every child is different, but if she has some kind of baseline of understanding, then it'll be a lot easier on her. It will. So he's really trying to convince her to go to this meditation place, and I'm just like, you lost me at psychic. Listen, I love hoodoo work and glitches, and I'm all about alternate, you know what I'm saying, crystals and the earth and herbology. Like, I'm all about it, you know what I'm saying? But psychic, I can't. I went to a psychic once, and she told me something and it came true, but like, I feel like she put a juju on me. It was a lot. He's been going there for 17 years, and the guy was like, you look familiar. And he's like, yeah. I'm just like, okay. Hazel says that she doesn't want to make any of these decisions right now because it's her first day and she's overwhelmed and she just wants to kind of relax and take everything in. But I'm like, girl, you know you got to plan a wedding. Like, what are you talking about? You just got to start somewhere. Don't be asking him about no girlfriend if you're not trying to plan this wedding. All right, you guys, so that's the end of this episode. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. Give this video a thumbs up, share on any social media platform that you deem fit, and leave a comment below. All right, Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.